Welcome everyone to the second annual Pathways Pokagon State Park Triathlon Duathlon. I'm Trent Lewis, and with me is Jeff Heisler. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us.
Not a problem, Trent. My pleasure.
And what's going to be happening here is the swimmers are getting ready to get into the 60-degree water. We got a lot of wind today. They'll be going on the Lake James ski slalom course.
This map that you're seeing right now, the yellow line represents the trail that the swimmers will be following. The red and green dots there represent kayak people and divers as well, to help just in case any of the swimmers need assistance during this mile-long swim. Here's a look at what the course looks like from the beach.
That's where they'll be exiting, Jeff, and then they'll be running up these stairs, and then they'll be getting on their bikes and getting ready for their 24.8 mile trek through the rolling terrain featuring the fields, forests, and wetlands of rural Steuben County.
Here's an example of the path they'll be following, and it's a lot of hilly terrain there, which, you have to exert a lot of energy getting up and down those hills. And if the wind you mentioned before can be a factor on this, if you're facing quite a headwind, it's going to put a lot of extra strain on those riders.
Especially when they start to going downhill. And next they'll transition back into the park. Well, they'll be doing a 6.2 mile run through the trails at Pokagon State Park. So all in all today, Jeff, a little under 32 miles doing those three things. There's actually a duathlon happening, and that's where they want to be. Right here is at the finish line.
Exactly. Want to be the first one through there.
So anyway, the duathlon, that's a hard word to say, Jeff, but where they only competing in two of the events. And we're getting ready for the swimmers. The male swimmers are going to be going out first in a lot of different categories. Some under 18 participating, and also some gentlemen over 60. So a wide range of different gentlemen participating in today's event.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how the ages might fall in the finishing standings here, but I think we'll see a good run.
Now they all starting their watches, as you saw, right before they got into the lake. Right before it started, Jeff, they got in the lake, just try to get used to the water temperature. It's not too bad for, middle of May, actually.
That's true, that's true. Sometimes when it gets really cold, they're going to, once again, it ends up burning actually a lot of their energy just trying to keep warm while they're out there in the water, and that can affect their end times as well.
And one of the things that they said at the beginning was if the water temperature was too cold, they were actually going to bypass this and turn it into duathlon.
Now, which events are actually in the duathlon? Which event is not running in the duathlon?
Well, Jeff, actually, the duathletes are not participating in the swim. They'll be only doing the biking and the running.
Okay. And it looks like they're all taking off pretty well. Looks like everybody almost is right there, pretty well neck and neck. We got maybe one or two stragglers there, but as they're almost all completely gone around the first buoy there, we got a pretty good start to this swim.
And they're probably happy it's not raining today, even though the wind is pretty high. I would say it's about, I'm not a weatherman, but maybe close to 20 miles an hour wind today. And there's some divers out there.
Yep, there's some of the divers and some of the people in the boat, just in case any of our swimmers happen to have any problems during the swim.
And the females should be getting started here very shortly. There's a 5-minute intervals, and I believe there's 4 women competing, and actually a team of women competing. And that's the only team competing today, as each woman will run each leg, and here are the women running in right now.
Yep, and they're off, so we'll see how their times are going to compare to the guys at the end here. I mean, I know that probably for a lot of them, sometimes there's some friendly competition going on there.
And this event's being organized and conducted by the Tri-Fort Triathletes, and this is the second annual. And we're glad to see him here in Steuben County and utilizing our state park this year.
That's right.
And one of the sponsors is Fort Wayne Orthopedics. They recognize Pathways, a crisis shelter for youth of Allen County and Northeast Indiana. And the CCC shelter, which is one of the oldest buildings here in the park, built by the Civilian Conservation Corps, pretty much is a center hub for the athletes. Well, they'll be switching their bikes, and then they return from their bikes to start their run. So all the activity will be going right there.
Yep. Here's a shot from the beach. They should be closing in on this point pretty soon here to exit the water and start heading towards those bikes.
Hey, We got a swan out.
I didn't see him in the participation list, but he's more than welcome to join in.
Maybe we'll get a number on him. And looks like our first male getting ready to exit the water. There he is. That's Mike Hermanson.
Yep, looks like he swam that in about 21 minutes, 5 seconds as our leader today.
And our next gentleman looks like, is that Keith Higginbottom, I believe.
Yep, shortly thereafter, about 3 seconds off, 24 minutes and 5 seconds there.
And there's Mike. He's making his way to his bike to start his bike race, and another gentleman coming out.
Alrighty, got some more entrants coming in here. Not too far off. Everybody's pretty close in here so far to the leader. So at this point, this early in a triathlon, it's really anybody's game still. Here they are. This is at the top of the stairs, working their way towards the bikes here. You know, nobody wants to stop and take time to undress themselves to hop on those bikes, so a lot of them do it while they're on the run.
So they get that, there's a little bit of time there from their swim to their biking, and they do get time for this. And hopefully they remember where they put their bikes, too.
That's correct, that's correct.
And these guys are looking tired already. They're all done with their swim, which is the shortest part of it, which is about 1.5 kilometers or 0.93 miles. Mile.
Mm-hmm. And some of the people actually, in some of these races, what you find is, you know, some of the people who come out maybe even in the middle of the pack or towards the end, they actually have more energy reserved towards the end and can put that burst on at the end and possibly go ahead and bring it home.
It's definitely use a marathon type. It's not a race. It's a marathon where they got to pace themselves and get good times, and that just goes into all the training that these gentlemen do, and ladies. And actually, they're coming from all over the Midwest, Jeff. We got some guys from Chicago and from Pennsylvania.
That's wonderful. Have them travel this far to our local area here. That's great.
There's a young man looks like he's in the 18 class. Just came out of the water. And shortly we'll have our 101 Lakes Network van to be traveling out with the bikers to get some footage of the bikers going across the hills right behind Fremont and right outside the park.
Yep, and there's that young gentleman we were talking about earlier, one of the younger contestants this day.
There's our first lady. And I think I got her name here. Amy Fletcher. Amy Fletcher, number 8. Coming out, and her time was 32 minutes and 35 seconds.
All right. And they're still coming out of the water here. So some of them are taking their time working their way up towards those bikes. Once again, possibly conserving that energy.
This is number 21 who exited. And now we got a bunch of swimmers coming out, making their way to the bikes.
Once they're on the bikes, you know, since that's such a different example of physical activity. You know, it's you and it's the bike and it's the gears and the road. You know, you got a lot of different things working for you and against you there. But I think, you know, where the water really holds you back when you're swimming sometimes, I think you're going to be in a situation where you can see quite a few people catch up and maybe get into quite a large group of bikers fighting it out here.
Oh, it's like our first duathlon. Greg Howard has just entered the course. He's going to start his biking part. And he's a favorite coming in. As I was talking to Ken Fillmore from the Herald Republican, he's a sports editor. He was the guy to watch for the duathlon. So the duathletes will start now in the biking and the running.
Very good, and we'll see kind of how that works out time-wise at the end here for them.
I would imagine it'd be expensive. You have to get your own wetsuits and bikes and gear, and then you have to pay to compete. I believe it's $60 if you're a member. It's $70 if you're not a member.